Our world is a mysterious place where strange and utterly incredible phenomena occur. We still truly do not comprehend what it is capable of. Nature is capable of astonishing even the most inventive imagination. If we hadn't compiled these 20 videos into one collection, you simply wouldn't believe it's possible. You're on the Top Facts channel, and right now we're embarking on a breathtaking adventure. We'll witness natural phenomena that have occurred on Earth. We wish you a pleasant viewing, and of course, let's go. This natural phenomenon occurs over the confluence of the CATATUMBO River into Lake Maracaibo and does Venezuela proud. The phenomenon manifests as the occurrence of numerous continuous lightning strikes, mainly at night. It's a long-running show, and thunderstorms have been a common occurrence here for centuries. Imagine that approximately 150 nights a year, lightning illuminates the sky here for up to 10 hours a day, and up to 300 lightning strikes can occur in an hour. It's the wrath of Mother Nature in all its glory. Scientists try to explain this phenomenon as the result of the perfect storm, the constant meeting of cold and warm currents. But why is there such a high concentration of lightning in this particular place? The influence of methane on storms has been studied quite extensively in this region, as it has large oil reserves and swampy lands that release significant amounts of methane into the atmosphere. You might already know that Venezuela is a country with the world's largest oil reserves, so the amount of methane in the air is exceptional. But truth be told, it's impossible to take your eyes off this spectacle. Every night is like watching an exciting movie. Can you imagine that on the streets of Hawaii, molten volcanic lava is flowing? It's both terrifying and mesmerizing at the same time, to watch as the crimson blood of the earth flows into the azure ocean. Hawaii has many waterfalls, but a lava fall is a rare phenomenon that we are lucky to witness. It's as if the devil is taking a vacation in this place. It all began when the Kilauea volcano started emitting a steady flow of lava. It traveled over 13 miles in a month, and on the day this video was shot, reached the town of Pahoa. Like a lazy dragon, leisurely creeping ashore, the lava destroyed homes and cemeteries, blocked roads. How do you suppose you can stop a flowing, molten stream? Liquid fire easily consumes any fence and effortlessly swallows an asphalt road. All that's left is to hope that the volcano will stop erupting and the lava will cool and solidify. A fleeting glance at this photo will probably make you think it's a scene from another movie about a global tsunami, and a dreadful wave is about to crash onto the Florida coast. In reality, it's not water but clouds that make up this tsunami. A curious yet natural phenomenon captured by a helicopter pilot. Clouds strangely enveloped the first line of the shore as if they were about to swallow the buildings. If this footage didn't exist, I wouldn't believe it either, but admit it, it's impressive. These clouds look as if someone has punched a hole in the sky. Some even believe it's related to UFO antics. But in reality, what we have here is a natural phenomenon resembling giant holes in the clouds. It's scientifically known as the Bergeron effect, and is explained by the fact that some precipitation forms as a result of water evaporating from supercooled droplets, and these ice crystals fall out of the cloud. The process is quite simple. Clouds are made up of vapor, a collection of droplets in a semi-condensed state, and if their temperature is below freezing, they gradually freeze, taking along large portions of their brethren. This way, a significant part of the cloud turns into a celestial hole. Clouds are the most whimsical creations of the sky. They play with shapes and can sometimes turn into not a plush teddy bear, but the most terrible snow mountain or a giant fluffy snake that stretches across the entire visible sky for hundreds of kilometers. The place of origin of these clouds is the Gulf of Carpentaria in northern Australia, and they mainly appear in September. October. Although this place is not the only one on Earth, their appearance is as unpredictable as the whim of nature. These clouds are called morning glory, and they can move swiftly, at a speed of 35 kilometers per hour. It's frightening when such a roll approaches, swirling low to the ground. But once you've seen this spectacle, you won't forget it. So that you see, this is a water vortex that occurs over a body of water. They always originate from a cloud, but they don't suck in water as it may seem. It looks like a tornado, but in reality it's much weaker than its counterparts on land. Like a rotating column, they look intimidating, but don't pose a deadly threat, especially if they form near the coast. In rare cases, they can be destructive. Then it's called a mesocyclone. In this video, we observe a beautiful blue sky and a wonderful day when suddenly a tornado appears in the middle of the horizon completely unpredictably. Honestly, by capturing water jets in their grip, they can easily overturn sailboats, so wherever you are, don't swim near such funnels. Such vortices are especially typical for tropical regions, but in winter you can also observe a similar snow devil, an icy waterspout, an extremely rare phenomenon when waterspouts form under the bottom of a snow squall. I think you have enough common sense not to wait for it to come closer to shoot a similar video. What causes a thunderstorm? Yes, they also have supercells, a constantly rotating updraft, a menacing spectacle that is sure to spawn a storm. Such phenomena are called rotating thunderstorms, and they, like the ancestors of storms, relentlessly hold a bundle of lightning ready to travel. This type of thunderstorm is completely independent of others. It is autonomous and can easily dominate the local weather within a radius of up to 20 miles. Such a funnel looks scary, but as a rule, it passes quickly. On average, a storm supercell will live for about 2 to 4 hours. If you watch it in time-lapse, it creates a parallel reality, reminiscent of horror movies. And that's the truth. That's how it all looks from the outside. Most often, they are born in the United States on a plain that is appropriately named Tornado Alley. When winter is approaching, walks in the forest are especially enjoyable. The fresh and clean air has already been touched by a bit of frost, and nature, before its long slumber, entertains itself in its own way. With what whimsical colors of the first frost it scatters across the empty ground. If you live by a stream or near a forest, you have a chance to see this glassy beauty. Such flowers resemble fiberglass or sweet cotton candy, and the best chance to see them is in the very early morning. Like any work of art, frost flowers are very ephemeral. They melt with the first warm rays of the sun. It turns out they bloom at night when the air temperature is low, but the ground is still warm enough, and the plant's root system is still active and hasn't gone dormant yet. So the plant exudes sap, traveling through the stems, and that's what forms these fantastic petals. It's amazing what the earth can produce, and how nature can delight us even in the barren times of the year. This is one of the most unusual wonders that our planet can offer. When you stand inside an Icelandic ice cave, you are literally inside a glacier. All around you is ice, and you can even hear it creaking. The glacier itself is already a phenomenal natural phenomenon, and there's no better way to understand it than by visiting its depths. But be careful. Ice caves can only be visited from November to March. Only then will the weather in Iceland be suitable. It needs to be cold for a long time so that the ice remains stable. But have you ever wondered how these amazing caves formed? When melting water flows under or through the glacier, it melts the ice and leaves behind a cave or passage inside, a kind of corridor. Naturally, this happens in the summer months when the sun melts the ice on top, and while the water goes down, huge tunnels up to 10 meters wide form inside the glacier. If you can imagine it, it looks something like an ice subway. What do you say about Okanagan Lake, which literally looks like it's dressed in a giraffe print? It looks quite amusing. This spotted lake is located in British Columbia, Canada, and owes its unique appearance to a high concentration of various minerals. It contains rich deposits of magnesium, calcium, and sodium sulfates, as well as titanium and silver deposits. Pretty cool, right? In the summer season, most of the water evaporates, and as soon as it recedes, all the colorful, valuable minerals are exposed. Each spot or circle has its own treasure trove. Blue, white, yellow, or green spots. It's a truly strange collection, and the indigenous people of the valley consider the spotted lake sacred. They have always traditionally used its water for pain relief. One company planned to build a spa center there, But the local residents fought to preserve their sacred place. They wanted to leave it untouched, and now the lake is easily accessible and open to all visitors. And when the water evaporates, you can even walk along the edges of these colorful bowls. If the UFO army decided to attack Earth, it probably would look just like this. Thousands of light columns shooting through the sky. In reality, what you're seeing now is an optical atmospheric phenomenon where a beam of light extends. This column can be located both above and below the light source. But the first thing to understand is that the end of the world has not yet come. Second, the beams are not coming for you. And third, it's incredibly beautiful. The effect is created by the reflection of light by tiny ice particles in the atmosphere or high-altitude clouds. In other words, billions of tiny glowing ice crystals create a solar or lunar column. They can appear from both natural and artificial light sources, from streetlights, and it's remarkable that they take on the original color. Essentially, it's the same halo effect, but oriented vertically. A beautiful garland, isn't it? Welcome to the most captivating place, the Natural Light Show. This incredible spectacle takes place in Jervis Bay, Australia. Here, crystal clear water, white sand, whales, and a phenomenon known as bioluminescence await you. It's also known as the blue tide. The ocean lights up with shades of blue and sometimes even bright red. Can you guess what makes the ocean glow? Let's break down the name. It comes from the Greek bios, meaning life, and the Latin lumis, meaning to shine. It's nothing other than the ability of living organisms to glow with the help of symbionts, a natural chemical reaction that occurs inside living cells, allowing them to generate light. Many creatures on our planet can glow: marine organisms, fungi, and, in this case, tiny phytoplankton. Interestingly, phytoplankton only phosphoresces when it's active. So, if you're surfing the crest of a wave, swimming, or even walking on the sand, every movement you make will trigger the magical motions of these animals. Scientists believe that phytoplankton evolved in this way to defend themselves, to deter fish that intend to eat them. It has created one of the most captivating phenomena on the planet. Aurora borealis is the most beloved natural phenomenon for residents of the northern regions of the planet. People have been traveling from the other side of the world for many years just to see this spectacle in all its glory. This unbelievably beautiful glow is also called the Northern Lights because it only occurs in high-altitude areas around the Arctic and Antarctic. These light shows are highly dynamic, and the light from them is unbelievably bright, as if some cosmic DJ set up a powerful party apparatus. The glow covers the entire night sky with a stunning glow, but you probably want to know how it works. Due to disruptions in the magnetosphere caused by solar wind, the trajectory of charged particles, electrons and protons, changes. These disturbed particles fall into the upper layers of the atmosphere, thus emitting light. It's almost like plankton in an excited state, but this is not nature, it's space. Did you know that polar lights happen not only on our planet? In fact, most planets, such as natural satellites of red dwarfs and even comets, can produce these wonderful natural phenomena. Attention! If you suffer from arachnophobia, do not watch this video, or else you won't get rid of nightmares at night. These horrifying scenes were filmed in northern Australia in 2015, and what you see is actually a massive spider web covering the entire field. This horror happens once a year in the city of Goldberg and is called flying spider migration. Yes, you read that right. We are also very sorry to inform you that some spiders can fly. No, they don't have wings, but they have a strong web that can withstand the wind. That's how they migrate, making everyone come to terms with it. Imagine a flying army of millions of spiders covering everything. Although this type of spider is harmless, they simply use their web as a sail to catch the wind and move. You probably won't want to lend them your umbrella. Mayflies. That's what these flying insects with mesh wings are called, and they live from a few hours to 5 days, and their larvae live in water bodies much longer, up to 2-3 years. So what you're seeing now is not a scene from a Stephen King book, but those days when mayflies celebrate life and flood the chosen area. This invasion occurred in June 2019 in northeastern Ohio, where billions of mayflies swarmed everywhere, covering literally the entire surface of the earth. The swarm was so massive and intense that everything around seemed covered in a layer of swampy mud and was captured on a CNN affiliate meteorological radar. Apparently, they all hatched from Lake Erie, where they patiently waited for about a year or two in the form of eggs and larvae, and then emerged on the water surface fully winged and ready to terrorize half the state. One consolation is that this swarm, appearing suddenly, usually doesn't last more than a month. But it's easy for scientists to say, try enduring even a month in such a mess. And scientists also reassure us that the appearance of such a large number of insects is a good sign, indicating that the waters of the Great Lakes are in good condition. So it's not a bad deal. Endure for a month, and then catch all the beautiful fish and swim in a clean lake. Death Valley National Park is located in California, and its name sounds very scary, but in reality, it is a tribute to the first group of explorers who arrived here, one of whom tragically died. The phenomenon that occurs here is a kind of mockery of the laws of physics. In this desert valley, rocks have the ability to move on their own. Yes, you heard that right. It's not special effects. The rocks magically slide across the surface of the sand. They even leave tracks several meters long behind them. But if it's not magic, how is this possible? Scientists attribute this to the incredible force of the wind and a slippery layer of thick ice. It's as if the wind is playing with these rocks like a puck. Even if a rock weighs tens of kilograms, it will move on its own when the ice starts to thaw. On the other hand, a heavy boat in the ocean also somehow floats on its own. So floating rocks are a paradox but a fact. These unusual snow formations can only be found at very high altitudes. They look like snow swords, as if the mountain slope has bristled up like a hedgehog and prepared for defense. These are truly sharp as peak-like thin blades of hardened snow and ice, standing very close to each other. And most amazingly, they always point in the direction of the sun's movement. This park of icy spires is called the Valley of the Repentant. How much these white sculptures resemble penitent believers. And their pointed tops do indeed resemble the white caps of Catholic religious orders in the procession held here every year during Christmas week. Icy penitents can grow anywhere in the dry Andes, starting from an altitude of over 4,000 meters, and some of these spires can reach heights of up to 5 meters. The icy penitents were first observed as a natural phenomenon in 1839 by Charles Darwin in one of his scientific books. He had to cross this terrain on March 22, 1835, on his way from Santiago de Chile to the Argentine city of Mendoza. The scientific name of this tall and useful tree is Eucalyptus robusta, and we are familiar with its aroma and healing properties. But did you know that it is also called the rainbow gum because of the multicolored stripes on its trunk, as if a mad artist painted a whole forest? This phenomenon grows in Indonesia, the Philippines, and Papua New Guinea. Imagine the feeling. If you stand among a grove of rainbow eucalyptus trees, you will feel as if you are looking at hundreds of Van Gogh paintings at once. But in reality, nature has worked here, and this unusual effect is due to the natural color of the eucalyptus trunk. How did these colors come together in the plant? Purple, green, red, orange, and even blue shades. Where do all these colors come from? The kaleidoscope view of eucalyptus is influenced by time. When the tree is very young, the bark is bright green, but over time it changes to red, then orange and purple, and finally brown, a sign of maturity. Nowadays, these rainbow eucalyptus trees decorate the streets and parks because they truly look fantastic. This grove in the state of Utah, USA, looks like an ordinary forest on a mountainside. However, to understand what a pando tree is, you need to realize that the entire forest is actually made up of parts of the same tree. The parent tree has a very complex root system. and all its other offspring are not babies grown from seeds or shoots. They are its cloned branches. This means that every branch, trunk, and leaf is genetically identical to the others. They are copied exactly. And yet, even finding two identical cucumbers is hard among a ton of similar ones. The main tree with its thick trunk rises above thousands of its copies like a giant, and scientists suspect that the age of the Pando grandmother could be millennia. Imagine a gigantic chest underground, where the source of life of the largest known living organism on Earth is located. But one way or another, when the main trunk dies, the clones will also inevitably perish, just as the fate would be for a society consisting only of elderly people. So, you and I are fortunate to be contemporaries of the largest tree on Earth, and if you want to see it, book your tickets now. The Zhangye National Geopark in China, also known as the Red Mountains, is one of the most unbelievably surreal places on Earth. Halfway along the border with Mongolia, the park covers an impressive area of approximately 320 square kilometers and includes the foothills of the magnificent Qilian Mountains. This park is known worldwide for its incredibly vibrant colors. The mountains look like someone painted them with colorful pencils. A picturesque canvas unfolds here, painted by a divine hand. In reality, this whimsical landscape is made of sandstone and mineral deposits that have formed layer by layer over hundreds of years to create this sand cake. Every time tectonic plates shift, they create a tilted colored layer on the hills, and years of rain and wind work to refine this masterpiece. In other words, erosion and tectonics working together have given us this unique wonder of the world. Seeing it is as strange as traveling to the nature of another planet. If there's anywhere in the world where you can literally walk into the sky, it's the Salar de Uyuni, the world's largest salt flat, located in the Andes in southwestern Bolivia. It is a dried-up prehistoric lake, and its surface reflects the sky like a vast, smooth mirror. Perhaps paradise will look exactly like this if we are destined to see it. This is truly a magical place, considered one of the most extreme and beautiful sights in all of South America, if not the world. The reserve stretches over more than 4,000 square miles of the Altiplano Plateau, making it the largest salt flat in the world. The ancient lake, which evaporated over a long time, has now become a thick salt crust rising from the earth. During certain periods, nearby lakes fill with a thin layer of water, and then the miracle happens. The sky is reflected as in the most perfect mirror on the planet. And at night, all the stars find their twins in the lake. Besides the romance, this place also produces lithium, which is used to make batteries for our smartphones. The world is astonishing and endlessly inventive, and you could spend your whole life traveling, collecting impressions of its wonders. We've already done that for you. Gathered all the amazing experiences so that you can just choose where to go on your next adventure. So feel free to subscribe to the channel, give it a thumbs up, and leave a couple of comments to promote the video. Thanks to everyone for watching, and see you soon in our next episode.